We're going to be talking about letters tonight, and specifically the letters that are negative, or you feel negative when you're transiting these letters. And when I say transiting these letters, that's exactly what we do. We have a name that we're given at birth, and we actually start in the first letter of our name, and as we progress throughout life, we continue to go through each and every single letter of our name until we reach the age of like 75, and then we start over at the beginning letter of the name. It sounds crazy, but I found this system works, and it's not really a system, it's just natural law. In fact, the average lifespan is 75, and so if you have started out with the letter M as your first letter in your name, then we're going to be discussing negative letters, and M is one of the negative letters. Now, negative letters also are constructive letters because they're stressful, and we have to do something about the stress that is created in these letters so that we either develop something positive out of them, or they overcome us, or the energy of it overcomes us, not the letter itself, but the energy of the letter, that phase that we're going through in life. So I'm going to be explaining a little bit about that, and telling you about the more negative letters. So, and this is, when I say we live through their name, there's a little section of this book right in the back of the book that I'm going to be showing you this here, a close-up of it. But there's a chart right here, and what that chart consists of is the number of letters in your name, and then across here it has so many years and so many months in each letter. And if you were to buy this book, you don't have to buy the book, but it's called the Kabbalah of Numerals. I'll show it to you right here. It's called the Kabbalah of Numerals, and it's by me, James Kluge, and it has that chart in there, so the work is already done for you. But if you want to do the work yourself and you don't want to buy this book, that's perfectly fine, to find out what letter you're in your name. And also this book also explains what the vibration is like in each individual letter. You can look that up, such as letter M, for instance. You can look up the letter M, and it's in here and under the number 4 vibration. So anyway, this is the book that I wrote, the Kabbalah of Numerals, and that's the chart in the back. Very important to have something like that. If you don't have that, what you can do is you can take 75 and divide it by the amount of letters in your name. So if you have 18 letters in your name, you divide 75 by 18, and you come out with roughly so many years and so many months in each letter. And so then you'd find out exactly what letter you're in, and then you could, if you knew what the letters meant, what they understood their meaning, and what kind of what effect they're going to have on you, basically, while you're transiting these letters, then you would be able to discern some of you'd be able to figure out, what things are going to be like at certain phases of your life. So right now I want to talk about the letters that are what I consider negative letters, which is basically your letters that are in, we say, I'm not into numerology, but if you wanted to call it numerology, you'd say that the letters that had 2, 4, 6, or 8, which are negative numbers. Positive numbers are, 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9. 1 is neutral, actually, but the rest are, positive numbers. But we're going to be discussing basically the negative ones and what they do, the effect they have on you. Some of these things can be devastating if you're not prepared for it. Usually they affect our environment, and they affect us working in our environment. So you're drawn to, if you're in a negative letter, you're drawn to a more negative environmental issues, such as you might be drawn to hanging around with the wrong crowd. And talking about that, we'll jump right in, and we'll start saying, well, the letter B, the letter R, and the letter K are all 2 vibrations. And in those, you actually may develop some kind of health problems in your throat colds with the fluids of your body that aren't like your blood itself, the white fluids of the body, things like that. So those kind of letters, the 2 vibrations, will the throat is the second area of your body, so it's going to affect your throat more than anything, and your maybe sinuses and head, because that also affects your throat. And so we're getting to also the letter D. Now the letter D is, think about all the letters, the words that start out with D, which is devastating, or disaster, death, delays, disappointment, and you could go on and on. But you could also find positive words like delightful, delicious, and you know, I could go on and on with that too. I mean, you probably can't find as many positive words as you can negative words, but you take the negative words, and those kind of vibrations are the kind that happen in the letter D. You'll have a lot of financial disappointments and delays and setbacks, and you'll feel depressed. That's another D word. So very interesting. I want to talk to you about these kind of things, because if you happen to be transiting a D, you're wondering, what the heck is going on with me? My life is turned upside down. I'm broke. I'm being swindled, you know, this kind of thing. These can all happen in the letter D. So we'll go on to another letter, which is the letter M. Now, the letter D and the letter M are both 4 vibrations. And 4 vibrations is the kind of vibration where it's the end of an old cycle, the new beginning of a cycle, but it tears down to rebuild. So if you can picture that, then you know what the M would be like, and also the D like. So it's destructive. You know, both of them are very destructive. M is trouble with if you're a female, you might have trouble with your female organs, or you might have trouble with a man, or a man might have trouble with you, you know, because there's an element of hot water here. You know, you're living in a hot water vibration, and it's kind of like, if this guy is married to you and you're going through an M, or he's going through an M, he feels like he's in hot water all the time. That's kind of how it works. But it also is financially crippling in some cases. However, if a person's a hard worker, in either of those letters, D or M, and righteous person, and then I don't, because some too, a lot of they aren't involved in a lot of deception and the wrong crowd, then they can get through these letters with flying colors, no problem. Now the letter P I would like to go into very quickly. That's basically rules struggle. It's a very stressful vibration in the sense it forces you to go out and work really hard for a living. But if you do, you make a lot of money and you're very happy. So, you know, that's the short version of the letter P. Now S is another animal altogether. S is chaos, paranoia. You know, you can start out in the letter S just fine, and when you're about halfway through it, or you're just getting involved and deeply involved, and you run into some negative vibrations in other places, you get, you know, I've been through a letter S in my name, and in the name James, and I know what it's like, and it's hard to explain to other people what they're going to be going through, but I made it through, you know, flying colors, you know, not really flying colors. I made it through scathed a little bit, but I got through, and I'm much better for it. We'll put it this way. I learned my lessons. These are what these letters are for, to learn your lessons, to learn lessons in life. You know, stress is put upon us, so we'll overcome the stress. Weird vibrations are put on us, so we'll know what better vibrations are. And so there can be a lot of chaos in the letter S, and there's sexual overtones too, such as you can get really mixed up, you know, or confused. We'll put it that way, you know, in the love from another person, and you may even be afraid of somebody that you're in love with or something like that, and you feel like you're in love, but it turns out to be just lust. So that's what the S is like. Now the U, conversely, or differently, is another 6 vibration like the S is, but it's a wonderful vibration. It's I can't say enough about it, but the only thing is love, but it's unrequited love sometimes. If the other person is in love with you, you still love them, but it's not going to do you much good to love them if they don't love you. And lastly, I'm going to go into the letter X. The letter X is like, it's basically You feel okay going through it. Maybe it's a little stressful because you get a lot of disappointments because all the plans you make and all the things you want to do, they don't turn out like you want them to turn out. Okay, well, that's it for today. I'll continue with these lessons, and other letters, talk about good letters. In other words, I talked about the U as the only good letter I talked about, which is a love vibration. But I wanted to show you the difference between that and the X. The X is a lot of bitter disappointments through mistakes that we make, thinking we're doing the right thing at the time. I did want to say one other thing about the letter R. The letter R, when you're living in that, it is a negative vibration. However, you can learn in the letter R, and it's a very good letter to learn under because it makes you want to read all the time and things like that. It's just like a student's vibration, but it's like a starving student. You always have a need for money and you feel very poor. And that's basically, I wanted to make you understand that the R is no fun to go through if you want to be feeling like you got a lot of money, because it'll make you feel like you don't have enough all the time.